Good day, everybody. Welcome, Rise of Both Warriors.
Yeah, so today we have a very special guest. We want to bring it to you guys. And right now, this live is going on my profile and also inside our Wealth Warriors Facebook group as well. I just share it. And Nate, who do we have today?
Good day. Yeah, so first of all, I want to say welcome, everybody. Rise with Wealth Warriors. Once again, if you're watching replay, hashtag replay. If you're watching live, hashtag live. And let us know where y'all coming from. Late is better than never. Exactly. So we have an exciting show, guys, coming on. The great PaPa Don is coming on, and we're excited and honored to bring him onto the show. If you don't know who he is, we'll get into that as we go. But he's been in the marketplace for quite some time now, and he's done very well in the industry. He just recently joined our Passion Over Profits program and stuff, and our inner circle. So excited to have him on. We wanted to bring him on, make some noise. So if you guys want to give a big hand of applause, let's welcome PaPa Don. Good day. How's it going today, PaPa Don? Nice to meet you and welcome.
Every day is a good day for me.
Great.
Beautiful, guys. I see that people are tuning in right now. Thank you guys for the support. So we have a series of questions. We only have one goal. Me and Nathan is to pull as much wisdom from PaPa Don for you guys today. Very quickly, I'm gonna just jump right into the question. So PaPa Don, you've had a very long and successful journey in video marketing, right? In the past couple of years, and I also know that you were very successful in your previous, business journey. We're gonna talk about that in just a minute. But could you share a pivotal moment in your career? What inspired you to not only succeed in the industry, but also transition into helping other people, coaching other people, mentoring other people in doing affiliate marketing and also digital marketing?
Right, sure. I'll address primarily relative to affiliate marketing right now. But if there are questions, I can always go back 100 years and bring people forward. But I would say that one of the things that helped me was while I was helping a couple of friends launch their business, the satisfaction of seeing them succeed inspired me into coaching, aiming to spread the fulfillment for myself. I got a lot out of the feeling I had when I saw their success. It was one of the most powerful feelings I've ever had in my life. Another thing that I did, I attended a mastermind event, and I shared my ideas with fellow entrepreneurs. Their enthusiasm and encouragement inspired me to aim for success and to share this excitement with others through mentoring. When I realized the power of community in my business growth, I decided to create community-focused coaching programs. Seeing people come together and succeed as a group was pivotal for me. The growth I experienced through coaching others was transformative, enabling me to see mentorship not just as a role, but as a personal development journey for myself. It was, I can't say enough that the power of helping others is a very satisfying journey to be on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, especially at your age, right? Right now, you are, how old are you? How old are you?
I am 81. That's why I say I look forward to every day. Every day is great for me.
I'm half your age.
But you just turned 40, right?
I turned 40 in April. So
yeah. Well, congrats. You're not even halfway there yet. You still got time to.
I'll be happy if I make it. I'll be happy if I make it there.
Hey, I'm going for 100.
Awesome. Well, with your spunk and your attitude, dude, I can absolutely see you hitting that 100 mark. No problem.
Well, we'll give it a hell of a run.
20, yeah.
So, PaPa Don, at age 81, you're living proof that age is no barrier to success. What advice would you give someone who's feeling hesitant about starting their online business, especially if they're dealing with internal fears or doubts?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess the thing that comes to me first is to embrace courage yourself. Embrace courage within yourself. It reminds me, I'm thinking about a test that I got from Tony Robbins. It's called the rocking chair test. The rocking chair test is a concept he introduced as a way to help individuals evaluate their long-term goals, and make decisions on how to align their values and desires, I think is really what I want to say. The idea of it is to imagine yourself in the future, sitting in a rocking chair, which I do. I'm sitting in a rocking chair right now, as a matter of fact. You're sitting in a rocking chair at the end of your life, reflecting on your life's experiences and achievements. Now, how does it work? Well, the first thing you do is you imagine your future self. Now, stay with me a little bit because the concept behind this is very, very powerful for everyone. Imagine yourself, the older version of yourself, sitting in a chair, looking back over your life. Reflect on key questions. Did I achieve the goals that were most important to me? Did I live my life to the fullest? Did I take actions that aligned with my true values? Assess your potential regrets. Consider whether there are any actions or opportunities you might regret not taking. This helps to identify fears and doubts maybe holding you back today. Make informed decisions. Use these reflections to guide your present day decisions, ensuring that you're working towards a life that you'll look back on with satisfaction and pride. I encourage you to actually go through this exercise because if you give yourself a chance, it's very powerful. The exercise will provide a perspective that encourages individuals to make choices that will lead to a fulfilling life, reducing regrets about paths not taken. That's significant. It is a powerful tool for aligning your current actions with a long-term satisfaction and fulfillment. Additionally, I would suggest stay connected to your why. Focus on why you want to start your business. Let that vision, improving lives, drive you past your fears. Start small. Think big. Begin with small goals that build confidence. Success breeds success, and soon these small victories will compound. Find community support. Engage with communities of like-minded individuals for encouragement and to help silence your doubts. Believe in experience. Age brings invaluable experience. Use your life lessons as unique selling points in your business. Now, I realize I'm older than anyone else listening to this session. I'm always the oldest person wherever I go. But I encourage you, whatever your age, go sit in that rocking chair and think about those questions. Think about your answers. Think about your reasons for wanting to be involved in all this. Align yourself to those objectives and take track of yourself. Stay on target and involve other people. I encourage you strongly to involve other people in your journey.
Thank you. That's very powerful suggestion. And most people probably don't know, right, where you came from. And me and Nathan have been talking to you a couple times, right? And also we've seen you from the past couple years in different programs. So maybe I'm gonna use this question to bring out a little bit of your history, right? Before you were doing affiliate marketing, and so you've built and sold multiple million dollars business, right? Coming from the business world. What do you think through that journey, through that life experience, what do you think is the most important lesson that every entrepreneur should learn in order to truly thrive in today's business environment? And no matter what industry they are in. People who are watching this, they might be doing different business, right? So some people doing online business, some people, they are still in their 9-to-5, but they want to build a successful business for their future. Some people who are watching this may be running local business. So based on your experience, right? Number one, talk about your experience. And number two, what's the most important lesson that every entrepreneur should learn in order to thrive?
Well, I'm kind of laughing as you're asking that question, because when you asked it to me in our first meeting, I think I took an hour in my experience. But just to give a brief overview, and I'll try to do this in less than a minute, Daniel. After getting out of graduate school, I started my career as an industrial engineer. I later was hired by IBM. I went through their training. I was in the sales side of IBM. Because I didn't know anything about selling, I just did exactly what they told me to do. I had a tremendously successful venture. I went up very rapidly. I was paid a lot of money. It was everything in the corporate world that you could want over those initial years. I was fortunate enough to experience. I came to a point in my late 30s where I was offered a significant raise and a career-making thing in the IBM Corporation. And I had an issue come to me that said I had to move my wife and my children to another area away from the whole family infrastructure that they'd grown up with. I had worked my butt off to get where I was in IBM at that time. And this new job was going to be even more dramatic. And I wasn't sure I had that much more juice in me to do, but I did know if I did, it was going to take even more time than I'd already spent. And so I had a hard decision to make. I wanted the job, but I'm not going to put my family in that situation. So I resigned from the IBM Corporation. I looked around. I decided it was time for me to do something on my own. I bought my first little company, and I didn't buy it with any expectation of tremendous success. I bought it because I knew it was the best training ground I could possibly have. I didn't know anything about business, but I knew I'm going to learn. If I've got this money on the line, I got to do everything I can to make it work. 7 years later, as a matter of fact, I think I sold that for a significant amount of money. In those days, it was a huge deal. And I took some time off. I was still a young man. I'm now in my 40s. And I decided I had to build another company. And so I did it again. This time I built a software company, consulting, and then we did some proprietary software, built a very quality staff. And that got to be a bigger deal. And so I sold that company. And I took off again, and time goes by, and I decided to do it again. I liked it so much. I love building it. So one of the key items, if you talk about entrepreneurship, in my experience, the most important thing you have is to always create value for the other person. Now, that may be, in my case, I was creating value in building a profitable company that I could be paid millions of dollars to sell to someone. As an affiliate marketer, the exact same thing occurs. When I build value, when I'm solving my student's problem, as opposed to trying to get them to buy something, I'm creating value. And those people come back to you and they ask for your help again. And that's the greatest thing you can do. That's what I said earlier. The biggest I've been very fortunate in my life financially. The greatest thrill personally that I have is the first story that I told when we started. When I experienced my efforts having helped these people get their lives started and becoming successful, watching that success meant more to me than my own success had meant to me in the past. And I don't know how, if you haven't experienced it, I don't know how to say it eloquently enough, but for me, it was a life-changing event. So coming back to what do I think you have to do in this entrepreneurial space? You've got to be persistent. Success is about resilience. Stay committed even when the challenges arise. Build strong relationships. Networking and referrals are pivotal. They create trust and open new opportunities. Adaptability, the ability to pivot and adapt to new trends, is a significant asset. As I said before, and I call it a value-driven approach, but always create value. This forms the foundation for long-term growth and client loyalty. You also have to stay educated and informed. So you have to continue learning and staying informed in your industry and keep yourself competitive. I don't know if that's everything I would like to say, but to me, those are the significant key things that I believe are important.
That's actually very valuable. I mean, me and Nathan, probably half of your age, right? And when we are building our business, I mean, just like every entrepreneur, we also have challenges, right? And Nate, remember the moments that when we all human beings, right? We also get frustrated, feel down sometimes, right? How many times by looking at we sit together, look at student results when we are confused? That's one thing to support us. I mean, make us realize that what we are doing is actually providing value to another person. That's how we got ourselves back on track.
The big one was the perseverance and stuff, right? So like you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to want to quit multiple times, right? But like Papa Don said, is you got to go into this knowing your why and sticking to that, right? Your why is your most powerful push and most powerful motivator. Like for me, my why is to have more time with my kids. I wanted to have more time with my kids. I wanted to be able to be a present parent. right? Now I'm able to do that thanks to these skills, right? But the thing is, like, this industry it's so amazing, right? Because I know, like, Papa Don, like, just from these online skills alone, I'm not the same person I was 4 years ago. I'm a completely different person, right? That's the thing, is like it changes you for the better, right? To me, entrepreneurship, it really dials in who you are as a person, right?
Let's bring some real positive contrast to that, and because Nathan, I am extremely impressed with your journey since I've got to know you a little bit. We've had a chance to talk. I came from a different. I was not a truck driver. I know how to drive a truck, but I wasn't a truck driver. I grew up in a very privileged situation, and I did what I did. You grew up in a different situation with personal issues and where you were, but you changed it. And what I want everyone that's watching this to understand very clearly, wherever you are in life, if you put yourself to it, you can become that person you want to be. Nathan did it. I've done it. It took me a long time of going down my blind alley of corporate America before I understood that where I had to get into doing my own thing. Nathan came at it a different way. I would say that Nathan's battle was much, much more precarious than mine. I had an easy road. He had a hard road, but we ended up in the same place, doing the same thing for the same reasons. I know these two gentlemen, absolutely. I don't have to, these words I'm saying, they know more about what I'm talking about than I know, but I know that we're all in agreement. And that's why I've chosen to become more involved with them. And I'm honored that they have invited me into their inner circle and given me the opportunity to participate. So I just wanted to say that, Nathan. I don't want to embarrass you, but
Oh no, it's all good. Trust me, I'm not embarrassed by my story. It's part of who I am and how I became who I am, right? So,
well, you should be very proud.
I always say, man, don't let your past define your future. Papa Don, since 2022, you've coached over 2,000 students. What do you think is the key reason some students succeed while others struggle to scale their business? And how have you helped them overcome those challenges?
Oh, this is a good one. Everybody listen to this, because Papa Don used to work in legendary marketer at high level, right? So he has seen a lot of people.
I'm going to summarize a little bit because I can get into deep, and I don't want to. This is the mindset and beliefs. That's the most important thing any student has. They've got to come to grips with. If you don't have the right mindset, get the right mindset. If you don't believe in yourself, go figure it out. Believe in yourself and don't make excuses. Successful students often have growth mindsets. I emphasize the importance of mindset over almost everything in my teaching. Community support, I've mentioned this before. Encouraging engagement in communities helps students feel supported rather than isolated. There's a tremendous community here that these two gentlemen have already put in place. That's a great example. Take advantage of it, use it, contribute to it, focus on fundamentals. I'm hard on teaching the basics. Those that nail the fundamentals will thrive as they start to scale once they have initial success. Don't get ahead of yourself. Stay with it. Get the basics down. Take small steps, successful steps, and just keep moving forward. Pretty soon, that next activity is a much larger step that you didn't even know you could take. And you took it because you got the basics down to start with. Leveraging networks. Once again, I come back to it. I really encourage students to use their personal networks and develop strong referral systems. I think it's critical to building your business. And then tailored mentoring. And this is an ongoing thing in this industry. Receiving personalized guidance helps students navigate their specific challenges. And we all don't go around we're on the same track, but we're in different lanes. We have different issues that hinder us, different things we need help with. Admit to yourself you need help, get the right person to help you, and move on. Once again, take a small step and move on. Gain some momentum for yourself. So if I could really get into this, but I'm not gonna take up a bunch of time with it because every one of these is a whole course unto itself.
Yeah, I was just about to say this is a whole course right here. Yeah, let's go.
I'm going to just summarize. I think mindset and beliefs and personal beliefs are number one critical. Community support is absolutely something you should do. And if you're uncomfortable with it, get over it, figure out how to make it work. Focus on fundamentals. The problem, I saw so many students, they saw what was possible. They wanted the dream. They buy the software, they get into it. Oh God, there's work to do here. You mean I got to read all this stuff? I got to watch all these videos. I got to do. And so all of a sudden it becomes different. And all of a sudden they just kind of fall off the backside of the truck.
Yep.
And it's criminal. It's criminal that occurs. And they're doing it to themselves. And each of you that are struggling, I don't know who I'm talking to, but anyone that's out there that's struggling, you've got only one person to deal with, and that's yourself. And it goes back to what we set up. It's mindset. And if you want it, get in that rocking chair and think about it and put a priority on it. It's your decision to make. I can talk you to death, but I can't do the work for you. And leveraging networks, I've said that, and don't be bashful. If you need some help, for God's sakes, there's all kinds of stuff out on the market. Get someone that helps you. I have dealt with a lot of programs. I go through it because I want to see how someone else presents. I go through it because I'm encouraged by something they said that got my attention. I'd like to hear their bent on it. Invest in yourself and fill those voids that you feel as you're moving forward. Those frustrations are just invitations for you to become better.
Absolutely, that's powerful. I remember that the other day I was dealing with the student friend, right? He had issue with connecting a domain with his systemmeet.io account. I ain't no expert in systemmeet.io, but I just went on YouTube and found a tutorial and sent it over. And the feedback I got was that he was not happy with the tone of that lady was talking about. So you can just find another one. All right.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah. You got to be resourceful in this industry, right? Being resourceful is what will hold or get a lot of people ahead, right? Being resourceful, not everything that you have questions about is going to be available at your fingertips. Well, they are available at your fingertips, but you just got to put in the work, be resourceful, whether it's watching YouTube videos, Googling, asking questions, right? But being resourceful is what will get you ahead in this business, right? Resourcefulness is one thing that I learned from being on the streets, right? I was on the streets for 8 years, right? Without being resourceful, I would have starved. I would have had beds to sleep in, right? I wouldn't have been able to take care of myself, right? So having that being able to be resourceful on the streets has led me to being super resourceful online. I don't wait for other people to give me answers. I go out and find them, right?
Absolutely.
And it's a big one, right? I just like you, Papa Don, I tell everybody who joins this online space, right? I can lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it, right? Yep. So that's the thing. Like a lot of people, they think they can just turnkey, buy a course and make tons of money. No, you guys got to put in the damn work. We can show you exactly how to get to that water, but you got to put in the work in order to drink it.
So building an online business can feel like a roller coaster. You experience that. Me and Nathan, Jonathan, our coaches all experienced that. Can you share a time when you faced a major setback and how you managed to even bounce back stronger?
After I got through all the old shits, I've experienced several major setbacks. Every setback is major to me because it moves the timeline, it moves my schedule, it gets me out of sync, and I have to deal with that on a personal level. To think about some setbacks, I'll put them in categories, I guess. Technical glitches is something that it creates a setback for me. A major technical glitch during a product launch taught me the value of contingency planning and tech trials before live events. We had a little bit of that this morning, getting this thing up, a little challenge. That happens in this business. So, that's not off the chart. That's just part of the chart. That's just something that we have to be able to adapt with. So technical glitches I consider them, every one of them, a setback because it was time consuming and frustrating. Another one that got me, it really did catch me, it happened last year, was changed regulations. When I became aware of the FTC activity and some pretty horrific stories out in fact, you mentioned Legendary a while ago. Yep. In fact, it changed Legendary overnight. I mean, I'm not saying it was good or it was bad. I'm just saying that I was surprised at the dynamic action that Dave took to correct his. That was, while I didn't, I thought about it many times, and I'm not being critical of Dave because I'm an admirer and a personal friend and so forth. But I was surprised at how dramatically he reacted to that, and because I didn't understand the issue, I thought he was overreacting. Until I got into it, and I got with the attorneys and we started going through compliance. I was so far out of compliance, I could have had my business shut down any day because I was breaking a lot of rules. I didn't mean to break them. I just hadn't paid attention to them.
Right.
That was a challenging period of time because that wasn't just fixing a little technical issue. That was re-establishing a whole approach, taking down some videos, taking down some things that I should never have said. And I think most importantly was now understanding why that was necessary and why that intervention at the FTC is a positive thing for the consuming public out there. I think all of us have to be aware of that. All someone has to do to turn me off on a video is show me their Ferrari or show me their mansion or show me their bullshit. I know I have nothing in common with this person. I have no desire to hear one more word they have to say. Anyway, product failure. I had a failed product launch that led me to survey my audience and develop a more targeted offering, ultimately strengthening my brand. I didn't mean to do that. I did it. It didn't work. I worked on why it didn't work, and I came out much better for it. And I'm going back and I'm reiterating some things or repeating some things probably too many times that are important to me. I do not take a failure personally. I take failure as part of my learning. Yes, I didn't do it the way I thought it was to be done because I didn't understand the correct way to do it. But now I've failed and now I've had to fix it and now I do understand it. And so we've all heard the Edison story of the light bulb and all that crap. We've heard, as boring as that story becomes after you've heard it 1,000 times, it's true. It is not the fact that it took him that many times to create the light bulb. He created how many ways not to create a light bulb. And that is something you've got to understand, and you've got to embrace failure. You've got to take it as a positive step forward in your learning. As I'm thinking about this, I made a marketing misstep. I've made more than one, but one in particular stands out. And it was a very unsuccessful email campaign. Taught me the importance of diverse marketing strategies, not relying too heavily on one particular method. So I'm much more aware of that now. I run it through a finer filter before I let something out. That was a big learning experience for me. And the last one I think I'll mention is, and I really don't want to expose too much personal stuff, but I call it a collaborative breakup. And basically, support team changes can be very challenging. You get going, you're solo at first, you start having some success, you start building your team, you start depending on your team. Some things happen. It doesn't matter what they are. Things happen. Redefining responsibilities, rebuilding, redirecting the team taught me an invaluable independence and a new set of personal goals. I had forgotten how to be a good manager. I had overseen so many people through my career that I was used to hiring the best people I could hire, giving them their assignments, stepping back and letting them do their jobs and evaluating. But when my team got a little too independent with themselves, they started taking some shortcuts, and I didn't know what to do with it except just slice and dice, because I can deal with a lot of stuff, but I can only take so much bullshit. And I had to rebuild my team. And that was, I think I know I've got a much better team now, but it caught me at a particular point in life where I didn't need another task. And it was a big task. And these guys understand it because they've got teams that support them. And it just taught me, as the owner, the executive, the one in charge, I can't pass the buck on that. That's my responsibility. The fact that I didn't give clear leadership is the reason I had a problem, not because people were trying to hurt me. They were just doing the best they could from what they understood. And they didn't have clear leadership. That's on me. That was So I remember that one big time. And that's enough of truth and confession on my part. But I would just say that if you're in this business, I mean, things are going to change. Things are going to be dynamic. You've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to stay up to date on what's going on. Anyway, does that answer the question?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, they know this. I hate to manage team. That's my weakness. That's my weakness.
Yeah, and I'm a little harder. I'm the hard ass when it comes to managing the team, right? If people are slacking, I'm gonna let them know.
Let me summarize. I want to tell another story, if you don't mind.
Please.
Because I was just thinking, it went off in my head as I was talking. This is my rat story. There was a study at Harvard back in the 50s. They placed rats in a pool of water to test how long they could tread water. On average, they would give up and start sinking around the 15-minute mark. But right before they gave up to exhaustion, the researchers would pluck them out of the water, dry them off, let them rest for a bit, then put them back in the water for a second round. In the second try, how long do you think the rats lasted? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? What's your bet? Just think it to yourself. The answer is they lasted for 60 hours.
Oh, wow.
60 hours on the second dip in the water. The conclusion drawn by the researchers, since the rats believed they would eventually be rescued, they could push their bodies way past what they previously thought was possible. Guess what? Your brain works the same way. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Because you're going to have 15 minutes in the water that's going to make you think you're going to drown. Take a break, get a hold of yourself, get back in the battle, and move on. If the rats can do 60 hours, you can do better too. That
was a very powerful share. Thank you for sharing this with us. I mean, this tied back to in your previous sharing, right? One of the key is that you have to believe in yourself. And that reminds me, when I first started out building this new business 4 years ago, I was struggling, right? I thought about quitting and a lot of self-doubt when in the first couple months. But I remember one thing I did it right was I kept seeing other people getting results. And I kept reminding myself, if they can do it, I can do it too. I just need to figure out how. And that belief pulled me through all those challenges to get me to where I am right now, right? So I didn't know what I was doing. All I had was belief that if they can do it, I can do it too. So that's actually very powerful. Yeah. So for people who are watching this right now, if you are struggling, you got to believe and you got to see that light at the end of the tunnel. Only you can see it. You have to believe in it. You can make it work. Right.
Yeah.
Next question. Go ahead.
That's a good one, because if you guys haven't listened to this song before, I listen to this song every single morning while I'm doing dishes. It's the first song I put on every single day. It's that Fire song by Charlie Farley. Right. And it motivates me because it literally talks about you're not going to get to success without hitting those struggles first. Right. You're not going to see success until you're at the top of that mountain. Right. Right. When you're when you get to the top of that mountain, then you can see everything that you've accomplished from before. Right. So I don't know if you guys haven't listened to that song, Fire by Charlie Farley. It gets me motivated every time I hear it.
Struggle is just part of the journey to success. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're not struggling, you're not working hard enough.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you've worked with countless people in affiliate marketing and digital marketing space. What's one common mistake that new marketers make, and how can they avoid it to accelerate their success? I'm pretty sure you've already mentioned this a few times already. So,
well, one of the things that, assuming that a person gets through the training and they do some of the initial work and they get started, the next major hurdle that most people trip over is they chase too many niches. In my judgment, new marketers often try to serve everyone. I advise focusing on a targeted niche to better meet that customer's needs and build your enterprise from there. And I'm saying walk before you try to run. I've said earlier, learn the basics, learn the base skills, take it one step at a time. You just mentioned a mountain. When you're a new person, you're looking at the glory of being on top of that mountain and you can't wait to get there. Well, let me break a secret to everyone online. Every one of us that get there took it one step at a time. If you're looking at the top of that mountain, I promise you, you're going to fall off a cliff trying to walk up the side of that mountain. You keep your eyes on the next step you have to take. Focus on that. Don't spend one more amount of energy on anything except that next step that gives you a win, and stay with it until you can win. I'm sorry, I don't mean to preach. I encourage myself when I talk out loud like this. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry, man. It's great.
Another issue I've seen is a lot of students neglect the fundamentals. Many overlook the basics, and I emphasize mastering key skills such as understanding customer psychology and crafting compelling sales copy are things you need to learn in addition to the technical things that you're all hung up with early in your thing. You've got to give yourself a chance to learn those things if you don't already know them. Many of us have other life experiences that give us some of that, but many of us don't have those life experiences, and you've got to learn it.
Exactly. You can't build a skyscraper without a strong foundation.
In one of my videos that I did way back when, it was one of my favorite little stories that I told, and I told about learning to ride a bicycle. I said the first time you went out with your new bike in the driveway, you couldn't even balance yourself on the damn thing. You needed someone to help you just sit on the seat. But after you went up and down the driveway a couple of times and you started getting a little comfort, pretty soon you're out on the sidewalk. And in a few days, you're riding all over the neighborhood with your friends. You have to get on the bike. You have to take it one step at a time. You kill yourself by being frustrated because you're not riding around the block every day. Focus on getting up and down the driveway. That's great. Keep it simple and keep it clean. Another issue I saw with a lot of students that I dealt with was inconsistent branding. Newbies often don't maintain consistent branding across their platforms, which can confuse potential customers. I stress the importance of a unified image. My example of that is my brand is PaPa Don. Now, what happens out of that isn't so much of what PaPa Don has done, but the fact that resonates with a lot of people. But I wouldn't trade that brand for anything. And it was an accident. That's what my grandkids called me, and I had to come up with something. So I said PaPa Don, but it wasn't scientific.
While you're talking about that, and if you guys want to follow PaPa Don, so you guys make sure you follow PaPa Don Recommends on IG, and you guys can also find PaPa Don by searching his name, Donald Mick, on Facebook. And I have one question for you. This is coming from me personally, just out of my curiosity, because you have been working with many successful entrepreneurs, right? Like you mentioned, Dave Sharp, and also a lot of legends in the marketplace. And why me and Nathan? Because recently you decided to join our inner circle, right? What value you see from me and Nathan, the Wealth Warriors, are doing or have been doing in the past make you feel that this is the place for you?
That's easy and it's hard to answer, but I will say it this way. Jonathan Montoya, who was your mentor, learned his business from David Sharp. Jonathan was David's top performer.
Yep.
You were Jonathan's top performer. I have affiliate relationships with all of you. The reason I'm pursuing this relationship specifically is because I believe the training that's involved in your program is the most straightforward training that will get people productive as quickly as possible and as broad as required. I am, and I don't mean this as a commercial for you, but the answer that's the honest answer to your question. Now, I can break that down into some things that personally stand out to me personally, and one of them is your holistic approach. You've encouraged me to integrate personal development into professional skills, which I'm excited to blend into my coaching. I mean, it's a perspective I didn't have before, and you guys are masters at it. Action-oriented learning. Your program emphasizes actionable steps, a strategy I incorporate to ensure my students achieve practical results. And you guys do that automatically, and that's just part of your deal. That's what you do. Others don't do it quite so well, in my judgment. Innovative techniques. You have unique marketing insights, have inspired me to update my curriculum with fresh, innovative strategies. And then personalized mentorship. And that's what brings me to you guys, and you know that. The emphasis on personalizing mentorship has led me to offer more tailored advice to meet my individual students. And I am a student, like I will always be a student. And I'm here. I mean, we've had this. I've been through Jonathan's programs. I've been through David's programs. I've been through part of your program. I'm not through it yet, but I'm going through it. And everyone that's in the audience need to understand that that's what they need to do for themselves. Because each of those, there's something to take away from each of those experiences. There's growth. There is. Well, I can ramble on, but I'm not going to. If I need to do an advertisement, I'll just say these guys are great. I'm here because I think they're great, and I'm more than pleased to endorse them any way I can. And that's
we appreciate you. We appreciate you. I mean, I want to highlight that being a student. I mean, me and Nathan, and also I believe our coaches, we are students every single day. Nate will send over the message. Hey, Daniel, learn this. I see something that we need. I send over to Nate. Nate, learn this. We're learning new things every single day. But we appreciate you. Nate.
Yeah. I'm just gonna jump in number 9 there. Your brand, PaPa Don Recommends, has been growing rapidly. How important is building a strong personal brand when it comes to growing an online business? And how do you cultivate trust and loyalty among your followers?
Well, this is a big one. A lot of people, they don't know how to build that trust. PaPa Don, please share.
I said it earlier on a different question, but to me, the way you build trust is that you deliver value. You're not selling a product, you're solving a problem. And it's important that you not spend your time with your client talking about the benefit of your product. It's important that you spend time with your client trying to understand where they are, trying to understand their problem, trying to understand what you can do to help them. You have to be able to understand it, and you got to be able to bring some value to them. That is what brings students back to talk to PaPa Don. I made a mistake a couple of years ago of using one of my personal email addresses as opposed to the corporate email address. Not email. Yeah, email, text. I'm sorry. I mean, my own phone number as opposed to the company phone number. I still get, in fact, today I've had 4 or 5 texts come out of nowhere. I don't even remember who these people are because you deal with so many people. We had a close relationship for a few weeks, but I don't remember. I mean, I get the, and I won't go into it. That's my problem. I think that giving value is a thing that I'll say over and over and over and over because it is to me exactly why I have been able to grow not only in this industry, but in my prior when I was running companies and I was selling companies. In my case, it went to the point that after I retired in 2000, I had borrowed money, I had investors, I had built relationships with a variety of capital sources on the East Coast. And I had an office in New York for some time. I commuted between Seattle and New York. I was doing so much stuff. But after I retired, I kept getting these phone calls from these guys in New York saying, Don, we're interested in buying this hospital in Miami. What do you know about hospitals? I said, well, I've been in a couple. I've had a heart attack. I've had a stroke. I know how they work. They said, well, we're interested in buying a hospital. And would you go down, do your thing, get with the people that are important and figure out if there's a deal to put together? Well, that request came from what I had done in my prior life. The way I had conducted myself, the way I had been fair, the way I had created value for other people. So I get down there. It was a painful experience at first because I didn't really know the industry that well. So I had to fake it, which I've unfortunately been able to do. That led to the next several years where we ended up buying this hospital and I put a little money into it, but not anything. They had the money. I was just enough to be a player. And then that hospital, anyway, we went on and we did that several more times. And every time was the same story. And every time it was because of the same. And every one of those guys that were owners of that hospital, not every one of them, but many of them have come to me as they're trying to do something else now. Mm-hmm. The reason they came to me was because while we were on opposite sides of the negotiating table, they walked away feeling comfortable with the discussions we'd had and the credibility of the parties. That's giving value. That's building relationships. And it's very hard in the affiliate marketing business when you're staying up all night doing videos so you can go out and get someone else to click on, and you say you're working hard. Well, you are. That's part of what you have to do when you're getting started. But the thing you really want to do is once that student becomes a client, you want to make sure that client exists. In fact, I've got the story that I told at the very beginning of this. It said, give an example. And I talked about a couple of students that their experiences taught me this. One of those students lives down in North Carolina. He's a very big farmer down there. And they had this big snow in the south. And so they've got, I think he said 6 or 7 inches of snow in North. They don't ever get snow in North Carolina, and so everything's shut down. But he sent me a text this morning with a picture of his baby and the fact that he's in the snow and so forth. Well, that's a special relationship. And anyway, that's what we do. So let's see. I say consistency is key. Maintain consistent messages and values in everything you do. And I think I've overemphasized that, but I believe it so much. Transparency. Be transparent with your audience, openly sharing success and challenges to build your authenticity. Engage regularly, deliver value-driven content, focus on value, and build community. Those are the things that I find dear. And I think those are the things that allow me to continue growing.
Love it. Love it. Nate.
Yeah, one of the big ones that we teach our students too is if you guys want to really make sales and build those relationships, you got to be relatable, right? Be relatable to the audience you're talking to. Like Papa Don said, don't be trying to go out there and sell to everybody and everyone, because not everybody and everyone is a client or relatable to you. Target people who are just like you, who you can relate to, because being able to build that relationship, especially when you have related, like for me, a lot of my audience is truck drivers, right? A lot of my audience is truck drivers. I understand their pain points. I already understand. I can relate to them being in their truck away from their families and stuff like that, right? That's a big one too, right? So, damn man, you're just dropping the friggin' bombs here this week.
But Nathan, tagging on back on what you just said. Do it for the reason you stated, but do it for an additional reason as well. That person may not financially be able to deal with it today. That person might not psychologically be ready to deal with it today. But if you're being yourself and you're giving value and you're trying to solve their problem, they're going to remember that. And when they want to come around, they'll watch something else you do. When they want to come around, that silent credibility builds. As long as you stay true to yourself and true to your audience, there are people that you'll never do business with. Life happens. But there's many people that just because they can't do business with you today doesn't mean you're not going to become business partners and you're not going to be able to work together. And so as long as we stay real, and I have to admit, and you guys get this from the sense of my talking so long this morning, I think I've run way over, but I'm passionate about this. It's important to me. I care about every one of these people. I care that guy sent me. I mean, that's a huge thing for me. That's like winning a contract. He sent me a personal note with a picture of his baby, just saying, "Hi, Papa Don, how you doing?" To me, that's as big as it gets. Like, you can make money and you can do things and you can buy things and you can feel, well, that's bullshit. The money part of it is important to all of us. But that comes when you do your piece. And your piece is to be there and be real and be honest and be trying to solve their frustrations, not yours. I'm sorry, I'm saying it too many ways.
It's all good. It's all good. So, Papa Don, one last question. What's your advice or message to people who are looking to start their online business but maybe feeling overwhelmed or unsure about where to begin?
Yeah, that's the $64,000 question. Well, first of all, I would say start with your why. I've said this before, but I'm going to say start with your why. Clarify your purpose and what you hope to achieve in your business. This will guide your strategy and your decisions. Now, we talked about that earlier, but I'm just re-emphasizing this. I also mentioned earlier, small steps matter. Begin with small, manageable steps and gradually build momentum. Two things happen with that. You're moving forward, you're getting the work done, but you're also achieving and you're starting to gain confidence. and the next, and just like we talked about that mountain earlier, you're taking one step at a time, and you've got to, people need to set their agenda on a daily basis or weekly or whatever their cycle is, but they've got to set their objectives where they can achieve results. They need to take like I said earlier, don't try to do too many niches at the same time. Get good at one and then grow from there. I'm saying the same thing with just going through training. Break down your objective for the day to something small enough that you can achieve it. One thing that happens is the objective was achieved, and you get to pat yourself on the back. You made progress today. As you get a little better, you can go down the sidewalk now. You get a little better, you can go around the block with your friends. It's just the way we all work. Our brains work the same way. Seek guidance. Don't hesitate to seek mentorship or join groups of like-minded entrepreneurs. It will reduce the overwhelm, and you will get tremendous input from it. Focus on strengths. Identify and focus on your strengths and leverage them to differentiate your business. And I'm going to conclude just on a thought, and I'll be happy to answer anything if you want to. But I'm going to conclude with, if hope can cause an exhausted rat to swim that long, what could belief in yourself and your abilities do for you? Remember what you're capable of. Remember why you are here. Keep swimming, but don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. You're not a rat in a jar. That's
Powerful.
That's it, kids.
Powerful. I hope you guys, when you have time, watch this interview again, or pay attention when we put our replay. And today, because what we share today, especially from PaPa Dan, it sounds so simple, but that's actually the things, right? What we call as fundamental. You have to focus on that. A lot of things PaPa Dan share. If when I look back, that's exactly what me and Nathan. Luckily, we did it right? When we had nothing, and that's actually the element we focus on. Even when we were confused, even when we were feeling overwhelmed, when we initially didn't see results, right? But we focus on the right thing. Keep providing value. Make sure when your customers are there, right, after they buy from you, or even just your prospects, you got to treat them as a human being. Let them know that you are always there for them, because that relationship can bring you to many, many different places that you might not see right now.
Powerful show today. That's absolutely. I want to say thank you, PaPa Dan, for not only your time, but your wisdom that you've shared here today, man. This won't be the last time we bring you on, because we could talk for hours, right? So we could, right? Like you have so much experience, not only in the online space, but in life general, right? So it's been an absolute honor having you on here today. And I want to say thank you to you for coming on. I want to say thank you to everybody who supported us on this live today. Thank you for dropping your questions. Thank you for dropping your comments. Is there any last words that you'd like to share before we get off of here?
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of things I really feel strongly about, and one is believing in yourself and the things that I said right up front, and testing that. And the rocking chair thing, whether you do that or not, give yourself the opportunity to talk to yourself. Give yourself an opportunity to lay out where you look at yourself. If today was the last day of your life, don't look back and think about the things you should have done. Right now, look forward that many years and say what you're going to do and set your map to that. That's one thing. And the other thing I'll say on a detail level, I didn't mention it, but it's something that I really harp on in my training. Do not pay attention to shiny objects. That comes in many, many forms. That comes from your scrolling. That comes from you watching TikTok. That comes from you watching Instagram. It comes from all the fun things that you do that you think you're working and you're not accomplishing crap. You are wasting your time, and that's the only asset you cannot go to the bank and get any more of. Okay, so shiny objects come in many forms. They're all distracting from your objective. You lay out your objective. If you're not clear, get with a mentor. Get with me. I'll talk to anyone. I mean, I won't even charge you. I'll just talk to you. If you, I mean, you can tell you probably don't want to do that, because I'll end up running up your phone bill. But the point being, focus on your objectives and take bite-sized steps, and do not get distracted with all the distractions that go on in this industry. And someone said about going through the jungle and having a map so that you didn't have to get lost with the alligators or whatever. Well, this whole journey is a jungle. This whole journey has more alligators and snakes and crap in our way to keep us from being productive. And as long as we give into that, we're going to waste our time. You're not wasting my time, you're wasting your time. But the point being, stay away from shiny objects. Anything that is not on your to-do list that you're needing to do is a shiny object. Anything that takes time away from you doing what you need to do is not positive. Now that I'm getting going, and I'll stop. I know you want me to get off. On an interview I did with Dave Sharp some couple of years ago, when I said this, he really resonated with him. He made a big deal out of it. But he asked me how I spend my day. And I told him a bunch of things. I mean, I have to work out and I have to do other things. I have other financial interests that I have to manage. But relative to this business, I set aside a couple hours in the morning, right after I get up early and I do my little walk and work out. And then I go to work. I divide my task into what I call my money work. And then I have all the other things. But there's certain things that I do that make me money. I create videos. I talk to students. I build things. Now, building things is not necessarily in that money deal because it's not making me money now. I've got to make sure I'm doing the things that are going to make me money now. And I'm saying those are the highest priority things that I do when I'm getting started in the morning. I can't even look at I don't look at my internet. I mean, at my email. It's probably 11 o'clock in the morning before I get to email. I just can't. I've got too many tasks I've got to get done. Anyway, I'm saying if that helps, it works for me. Work on your money activities first. Get that done. Whatever's moving you, maybe you're not producing revenue yet, but you're working on your videos, you're working on getting your software together, you're working on whatever you're doing. That's a money task because you're building your infrastructure, and that's going to allow you to get that money. So that's what you got to focus on. And you cannot be looking at other crap. Someone's going to have another program. They're going to say this, I'm not going to say anything negative about other programs. I'm just going to say that there are so many things out there. Looks like a slam dunk. All I got to do is pay $98 or $97 and someone's going to send me a solution to my whole world. And so now it isn't the $97 that's the issue. The issue is I'm not even on track with my own where I am. I'm off doing something else. Anyway, everyone knows what I'm talking about. It is a major distraction. If you succumb to it, you're wasting your time, and you need to get back to the rocking chair and have a long chat with yourself. Period.
Powerful. I hope you guys all received great value today. And make sure you guys follow on his IG, or you can find him on Facebook if you want to connect with him. And thank you, PaPa Tang, for jumping on this interview. And we look forward to do another one with you in the future. All right.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Cheers.
Thank you.